Good morning. On behalf of the principal, Professor Sister Molly Abraham, and the entire staff of St. Bede's College, I, Dr. Anupma Tandon, Coordinator, IQAC, welcome the principals, NAC coordinators, and faculty members from Himachal Pradesh and outside Himachal to this one-day NAC-sponsored webinar on revised accreditation and assessment framework in higher educational institutions. The main aim of the seminar is to focus on various issues related to revised NAC accreditation process, which would benefit the principals, IQAC coordinators, and faculty members of accredited and non-accredited colleges of Himachal and neighboring states. Discussing the knowledge on latest procedures involved in the accreditation process, the webinar would help the institutions undergo the process of assessment and accreditation, thereby increasing the number of accredited colleges, especially in every district of Himachal Pradesh. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you all the distinguished speakers of today's webinar who will be joining us from across the country and outside the country to share their valuable experience. The first technical session would be conducted by Dr. Alok John, Dean National International Collaboration and Consultancy Services, Patna Women's College, who will be dwelling on role of IQAC in institutionalizing quality culture in higher educational institutions. The second session is on preparation of institutional information for quality assessment, that is IIQA. The speaker for this topic is Dr. Surya Rashmi Rawat, Deputy Director, IQAC, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Post-lunch, Dr. Madhukar, former advisor and General Executive Committee member NAC, would be presenting from London to enlighten us on the preparation of self-study report and data validation and verification. The last session on student feedback and peer team visit would be conducted again by Dr. Alok John from Patna Women's College. I welcome all of you once again and hope that the webinar would help us get NAC ready and make NAC appear easy by giving us a comprehensive rundown of the accreditation process so that we can breathe and sail easily and smoothly throughout this journey. May I now request Principal St. Bede's College, Professor Sister Molly Abraham, to address the gathering.
Good morning to one and all present in this webinar. I feel so happy and privileged to be a part of this webinar. Today, I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the NAC-sponsored one-day national webinar on revised accreditation and assessment framework in higher education institutions, organized by IQAC St. Bede's College, Shimla. St. Bede's College is a premier institute for women education in the region and has an identity of its own across the whole country. It was established in 1904 as a teachers training college, and today it offers many undergraduate and postgraduate courses. It is an institution of great repute, excellence, and has remained as educational hub for many distinguished personalities. It is a matter of pride for me and the whole institution that St. Bede's is the only educational center in Himachal Pradesh which has been re-accredited with A+ grade by NAC. All of us know that quality has been a compelling priority for any educational institution. As a part of this quality initiative, St. Bede's College offers a platform for the people involved in the educational mission. By organizing today's webinar, St. Bede's has taken a magnificent initiative to acquaint all the participants with the relevance of NAC and its functioning as an institution in the contemporary times. National Assessment and Accreditation Council is an autonomous institution established in 1994 to conduct assessment and give accreditation to higher educational institutions to realize the desired dimensions of human resource development and to derive an understanding of quality status of the institutions. It aims to empower all the institutions of higher learning by maximizing resources, opportunities, and their capabilities. Under UGC's recent mandate, every college and university in the country must get accredited from this institution for promotion and enhancement of quality education. Here, I would like to emphasize on the fact that in the whole process of getting accreditation, the IQAC plays a pivotal role. It is a NAC proposed concept of forming a structure that would help educational institutions to improve their work process and achieve learning outcomes and objectives. It is a participative and facilitative unit which closely work with the faculty to plan out best possible strategies and get them executed. The main objective of having an IQAC is to bring positive impact of learning, teaching on the students as well as the institution. It is the responsibility of the IQAC of the institution to set quality benchmark with consistent work, creating parameters to reach academic as well as non-academic learning goals so that the student-centric teaching learning environment is created. I am hopeful that today's session will prove beneficial for all the participants to get channelized in the right direction and work with greater efficiency to achieve proudness of their respective institutions. Once again, I welcome you all to today's insightful session. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, sister. May I now request Mrs. Anuja Sharma, Head of the Department of English, for further proceedings.
Thank you, Anupama. Good morning, sir. We were waiting for you. I'm Anuja Sharma. Welcome on board, sir. It is my privilege and pleasure to introduce the most distinguished and eminent keynote speaker, Professor Hemnath Rao Hanumankar. He is an acclaimed alumnus of Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Hyderabad, and also of the University of Durham Business School, UK, where he was the recipient of the Best Alumnus Award. A man with a mission to alleviate poverty and promote human development through learning and development, innovation, and formulating best practices in promoting livelihood security. Sir was formerly the director at Development Management Institute, Patna, having also served as professor and dean he has rendered his services in many capacities as Assistant Director, National Cooperative Development Corporation, Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, has headed Tata Management Development Center, Jamshedpur, and has also served as the... Okay, I'm not off, but maybe I'm not audible.
It's now audible.
Professor Hemnath has served on several professional bodies and committees that offer an opportunity to shape institutional and national policy. It is impossible to encapsulate his tremendous contributions in policy making. While working at the UNDP New Delhi and the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, he was actively associated with the formulation of corporate and competitive strategies for reputed public and private sector, besides leading numerous policy-level studies in the area of agriculture, sustainable farm livelihoods, water resources, education, health, consumer affairs, and related areas impacting human development. With a large number of books and book chapters accredited to him, his most widely read book is Tryst with Global Competition, published by BSP Hyderabad. It analyzes the strategic response of Indian businesses to the forces of global competition and globalization. While the other book, Study of Manrega, a case in implementation of an anti-poverty program in Andhra Pradesh, captures the strategic issues in implementing India's flagship program for alleviating rural poverty through wage employment. Over the last 3 decades, Sir has lectured at leading management institutions across the country and abroad and made a massive contribution to conceptualization, design, and delivery of management development programs across the country and the developing world in Africa and the Pacific Islands. Sir, my minimalistic introduction is due to my Pressy writing skills, or else it would have taken away from your time with us as the keynote speaker for the session. We are indeed honored to have you, sir, on board. May I now request you to begin, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam, for that very elaborate introduction. I am not very sure how much of that I would be able to live up to, but in the next half an hour or so, I would like to share some thoughts on how academic excellence and the frontiers of academic excellence could be pushed. Am I audible, please?
Yes, sir, you are. You are audible.
And at the outset, I must thank the St. Bede's College for having invited me to share these thoughts today on this very momentous occasion when they are having a NAC seminar to examine the mechanics and dynamics, if one may like, of achieving academic excellence. So I believe that leadership is the key to achieving excellence in any profession, and every profession, as we all know, is shaped by its tools. The profession of us in the academia also has its own tools. The tools obviously are the quality of teaching that we bring to the classroom, the quality of research standards that we bring to our publications, the quality of interface we bring to the industry based on the knowledge that we possess and we would like to share with the industry and the governance structures through advisory services and consulting support. And if institutions are engaged in extension services, such as it happens in the agricultural and technological universities, the quality of extension services we provide to the end users is again a determinant of the excellence that we have achieved in our institutions. And leadership at all levels, whether we are talking about a member of the non-teaching staff at the grassroots level of the institution, or we are talking about an honorable vice chancellor or chancellor of the university and the members of the senates and the syndicates, members of the governing bodies and governing structures, the commitment and the passion that they bring towards making academic excellence happen is going to be the Am I audible, please?
Sir, now you are audible.
Thank you.
Yes, now you
because
are.
I saw there was a brief interruption. I do
Yes.
not know whether it was at your end or mine. Yeah.
We can hear you now clearly.
Of our teaching standards. Yeah. The quality of our teaching standards, the quality of our research, above all, the quality of consulting and advisory services we can provide to various stakeholders, and more importantly, shape the leaders of tomorrow. Because I believe it is a noble responsibility and a noble opportunity for every teacher in the world. When you have a group of 30 students sitting in your classroom, you are the leader and you are in the process of preparing those youngsters who are there in your classroom to hold leadership positions for tomorrow. I'm sure you agree on this. Then the question arises, if I'm the student sitting in the classroom, should I not be asking myself, why should I be led by this teacher? Why should I be spending the next 60 minutes or 90 minutes of my classroom lecture time listening to this teacher? Am I at the end of this session going to take away some inputs that will help me grow into a leader? This is a question that is being asked across the spectrum, whether I consult with the corporates, whether I walk into the government departments and ministries, or whether you are looking at the non-governmental organizations. Please understand, in every sphere of our life today, every individual is asking this question: am I being led by the right leader? And in the first place, why should I be led by this person? Does this person have those characteristics and attributes that will enable me to also take up a leadership position, so that I benefit from the knowledge, the skills, and the attitude that I observe in this person, and I adopt those to enrich my own leadership qualities? Now, when we put this in the context of our academic institutions, whether you're a senior most professor or a dean looking up to your honorable vice chancellor, or whether you're a lecturer or an assistant professor looking up to your senior associate professors and professors, are you able to see?
Sir, we've lost your voice again.
Yeah. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, sir.
Right. So if this is a question that has to be answered by us as teachers, that we classroom time of our students worthwhile, we come across as leaders to our colleagues whom we are responsible in terms of guiding them, guiding their research work, guiding their teaching skills, and above all, guiding their administrative and leadership processes and development. It is an onerous responsibility on our shoulders. One of the teachers here who is logged in could ask the question, was I given an opportunity to shape myself into a leader? Was I given an opportunity to go through a leadership development program? If I did not have that opportunity, then why am I being expected to provide this opportunity to my colleagues, my peers, and my subordinates? I mean, there's no subordinate in the academia. We all work in horizontal cultures and horizontal structures, but your juniors would certainly be expecting this, and you could be wondering whether you are beholden to provide this kind of support. I have an answer based on my 40 years of experience that you don't have to give necessarily to the extent what you have received. Times are changing. Circumstances have changed. The kind of resources that the senior teachers and the senior professors had in the 60s and 70s, or even in the 80s and 90s, particularly in this country, was certainly very scant and hardly worthy of any mention compared to the facilities that teachers have in today's context. There are also issues. While you may have smart boards, you may have smart classrooms, you may have smart campuses, the fact remains that our service conditions, and more notably the culture, when I say culture, not just the working culture, but the very culture of academia, the collegiate culture that every good professional academic institution was supposed to have somewhere got diluted down the line. And therefore, I'm a believer that not everybody who is sitting in a leadership position is a leader. I would even venture out to say, whether I'm holding a position in the University Grants Commission, I'm sitting in the All India Council for Technical Education, whether I'm sitting in the Medical Council of India, whether I'm sitting in the Dental Council of India, whether I'm sitting in the Ministry of Human Resource Development, shaping policies for the education sector, both school and higher education. I am not sure whether we really have got leaders up there bringing the quality and standards of leadership to really make excellence happen. Now, that is the macro level picture, which probably is not always under control. But every individual teacher, and when I say teacher, whether someone is teaching in a school, someone is teaching in an intermediate institution, like we call it as junior colleges in this part of the country where I'm right now sitting in Hyderabad, or whether you're sitting in a degree college or a postgraduate center, or in running a doctoral program in a premier institute. As an individual, you could make a difference to the department, to the functional area, to that academic program where you're sitting. If only one is aware of the concepts, the best practices, and what you may call as the processes of leadership. I still remember at the Administrative Staff College of India, where I had organized at least 2 conferences of the vice chancellors. One vice chancellor who was leading a technological university came up to me and said, "Professor Hemnath, I until yesterday did not know that there's a body of knowledge in leadership, which is impression that leadership is usually something that you see being practiced by the demagogues and the political despots out there in our political environment, or leadership is something which you sometimes see being mentioned in the military context, where the leaders in the armed forces are supposed to bring certain standards of discipline and strategies to the battlefield warfare." But I honestly did not know that leadership is a body of knowledge that could be even practiced by teachers and members of the academy. Now, would I take this as a compliment, or would I take it as a commentary? State of particularly the academic staff colleges we in the various universities. There are some 1,000-odd universities in this country today, and almost every university is mandated to have an academic staff college that is supposed to constantly strive towards upgrading both the standards of professional competence in terms of teaching and research, as well as administration in school, as well as higher, obviously in the higher education institutions. Are these academic staff colleges geared up and equipped well enough to run leadership development programs? Are they capable of sensitizing and introducing members of the academia to the concepts? I leave that question to you, because
Sir, the voice is breaking again. We cannot hear you, sir. Hello?
There was an interruption.
Yes,
Am I
now you're
audible
audible.
again?
Yes, yes.
I think the IT
Now I'm
coordinator at
not.
your end may be advised to use a hotspot or some dongle to keep the internet connectivity uninterrupted. Can I move on? Yes.
Yes, sir.
While each one of you could reflect whether you have had an opportunity to be trained and acquire those competencies in leadership, it would not be inappropriate on my part to leave a few suggestions. And I've got 3 suggestions how individually, whether you're teaching a subject like physics or chemistry, you're teaching a subject probably like in natural sciences, botany or zoology, or you're into arts and humanities, or you're teaching mathematics and statistics, or engineering and technology, medicine, dental surgery, no matter which academic discipline you are into, please understand there is a practice area called leadership. Every individual who enters as an entry-level executive into the corporate sector, any of you who has seen a good corporate would realize that even while that young lady or young gentleman is being inducted into the corporate organization, he or she is required to go through a small module of leadership development. The same thing happens in the armed forces. It also happens in the government, whether you're joining the All India services or the central services, or you're joining the state services. Almost every institution, for example, the central training establishments in the government of India, the administrative training institutes, as they're called, state level institutions across the states, they all do design and deliver leadership development programs. To my mind, the academic staff colleges in some universities across the country, they are now referred to as human resource development centers. Probably these are the only centers where you will rarely see a comprehensive and robust leadership development program being run. Time has come. The new education policy is a pointer towards improving our standards of excellence. If we have to be seen in the global community as a country that produces graduates, postgraduates, and doctorates who are on par with any of the institutions from where similar graduates, postgraduates, and doctorates are coming out across the world, we need to look at leadership as an area where we need to strengthen the administrative skills, the professional competencies of our teachers, particularly in higher education institutions. Point number 2, I have always believed that the bottleneck is always at the top of the bottle. You take any bottle, you take your water bottle, you will see that there is a bottleneck at the top of the bottle. In the academic system, I believe if you have to achieve academic excellence, when each of us as a teacher, whatever level we are operating at, we can do our little best to improve our teaching skills, improve our research profile, and contribute to stakeholder welfare by providing or sharing our consulting and advisory services. The procedures, the policies that are shaped at the top are often seen as bottlenecks. The problem is, I could be the vice chancellor of a university, but I have never myself been exposed to a leadership development program. And therefore, I feel if one of my faculty colleagues in one of the departments of the university applies or makes an application to go and participate in an international or national leadership development program or a seminar, I would probably see it as a waste of time. I would wonder, this person is a world-class researcher in his subject of nuclear physics or atomic physics. then why is he wanting to go and waste his time in attending a week-long?
Sir, we have lost your voice again. Sir, you are muted.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you now.
We have seen that scientists at the level of F and G coming from the Defense Research Development System or the Space Research Organization, they all understand and they share, including those who are heading the apex laboratories of the country, like the National Physical Laboratory, the National Chemical Laboratory, or the Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology. All these apex research institutions, they also believe that they need to be empowered with leadership development skills, because their job is not just all about working in the laboratories, but they're dealing with large complements of human resources who are essentially knowledge workers with their own egos, with their own what you may call as personal style and personal profiles.
Again, there is a glitch, sir. Hello? Hello? Hello?
It's very unfortunate. Ever so often, the connectivity is getting disrupted. So each one of us,
so sometimes the video
need to
maybe
reflect.
If the video is switched off, maybe that will help. I don't know.
No, it is not at my end. I can see that it's
Okay.
facilitators end. Yeah, it's not a problem here. The bandwidth is fairly good here.
Okay, okay, sir. You may carry on. We can hear you.
So, yeah. So I think each one of us have this responsibility to see how we could strengthen our own leadership skills. I hope in this brief keynote address, I've been able to establish how important it is to be not just a good teacher or a good researcher, but to also be a good leader. And point number two, if we agree that leadership is something that we all need to cultivate, whether in our current roles, some of us may be, heading a department or heading a small academic unit where you feel that you're a world-class leader and there's nothing more for you to do. But going forward, if you are aspiring to hold senior positions as deans and directors and vice chancellors, it is essential that you be able to answer that question when somebody asks you, why am I or why should I be led by you? You know why you are there sitting in a position of responsibility to lead those teams whom you are responsible for. The next issue is, please understand there is huge competition. There is competition for resources, whether you are in a private university or a public university, whether you are in a premier institute or you are in a not so accomplished institution, but nevertheless catering to a local target group of students and scholars. The fact remains you're competing for resources. And when I say resources, You're competing for physical resources in terms of infrastructure, financial resources in terms of budgetary support from wherever it has to come, including your own you need to you want to manage the talent in a manner that you can make academic excellence happen in your institutions. As I said, the competition is so much. If somebody is really worthy of being a good teacher, he or she has multiple options, and therefore you need to brand yourself. You need to create a powerful branding that enables you to attract as well as retain the best talent. And there's no gainsaying the fact that, as a former Prime Minister of Singapore had once said, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And I always believe the tyranny of the contract system that most academic institutions have created, where they pay such poor, niggardly salaries to the teachers. I do not know what kind of talent they can nurture. This is a message that I have had an opportunity to communicate at the highest echelons of the academic bureaucracy. And I would like to repeat in this keynote address that you also need, as part of your talent management, to compensate your teachers well for the services they're delivering, because it is not only their leadership, but the quality of leadership that they will be manufacturing out of the classrooms through their graduate and postgraduate programs. So there is competition for resources. There was that interruption again. There is a competition for the students for whom you exist. It's not as if all the academic institutions are fill up all the seats. You would all agree that there is tremendous competition, and sometimes this competition borders onto very unhealthy practices. Now, if a reflection on the leadership of the academic institutions where you are. Point number 3, it is not just the students, it is not the research scholars. You also need to forge partnerships. You need to have alliances. If you want to be a world-class institution, you have to join hands with other world-class institutions to achieve world-class standards of excellence. The choice of partnerships, the choice of institutions with whom collaboration, partnership, would you be able to gain I still remember several years ago at the Administrative Staff College of India, where we were training some of the senior most bureaucrats in the public and the private sectors. We really did not have an idea how much more we could gain if we had the right partners on board. So when we, for the first time, decided to get into a long-term teaching program and joined hands with the Johns Hopkins University for running a postgraduate program in health management, and we had professors coming in from there to share some of our academic burden, we had a lot to learn from their own teaching styles, their own practices, and above all, the cultural aspect of being part of the academia. So to sum up this keynote address, I think I've taken a little more than what you had suggested, or well, we are on time. It's exactly 11 o'clock. I would just sum up saying that the 3 points I would like to reiterate are whether or not your academic institutions, academic staff colleges in your universities are delivering the kind of outcomes that you expect in terms of raising the leadership quotient of the teaching community in the university system, whether or not you're competing actually. But even if you think that you are such a well-established institution, you have a huge demand for your admissions, you must realize that attracting and retaining the right talent in the university system is a huge challenge. You can't just rest back and say that I have the best teachers, because at the end of the day, it is not smart universities, smart classrooms, and smart devices that are going to produce leadership and excellence. It is the quality of the human resource that you recruit and retain. The point number 3, which I just mentioned to you, please understand that the right partnerships, the right professional networks, the signing MOUs with and collaborating with the right institutions is a part of your journey towards achieving academic excellence. I will pause there. Probably I'll be glad to take any questions from the floor for 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how much time you have in your program schedule, or you want me to close. I will be glad to log out. I leave it to the organizers, please. Is over to Professor Anupama or Professor Anuja, whoever is coordinating this. It's over to the organizers.
Thank you so much, sir. Indeed, you know, there were certain excellent suggestions and points that you made regarding attracting and retaining quality of human resource. So essential, because buildings are buildings after all. Thank you so much for this. And for a quick question round, if anybody in our audience has a question, maybe please ask them to voice it, unmute themselves and voice it to sir. We'll just take a minute. I guess we'll get a whole lot in the chat box later. So we'll come back to you later, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Over to Ma'am Anupama.
Oh, you are muted. They have muted from the phone. Okay.
Okay. Now we'll be starting with our first technical session, which is on role of IQAC in institutionalizing quality culture in higher education institution. And the session will be chaired by Dr. Shramja Munjal, Head Department of Botany. Over to Ma'am Shramja.
Thank you, Dr. Anupama. Greetings to everyone once again. Moving further with the webinar on revised re-accreditation and assessment framework in higher education, we are about to start with the technical sessions. For technical session 1, the esteemed resource person is Dr. Alok John. I take the opportunity to welcome Dr. Alok John, Dean, National, International, Collaboration and Consultancy Services, NICCS, Patna Women's Autonomous College, Patna. Dr. Alok has done his BBA and MBA from reputed institutions and currently pursuing his PhD from NIT Patna in Human Resource Management. He has done a number of other academic courses related to management, leadership, governance, research methodology, etc. He is also Assistant Coordinator, IQAC and NAC, Nodal Officer, National Innovation and Startup Policy, Nodal Officer for NIRF 2021, Coordinator, India Today Ranking 2020 and 21, Nodal Officer of Prime Minister's Special Scholarship Scheme for Jammu and Kashmir under the aegis of AICTE, MHRD, Government of India. Sir has a great experience of training and consultancy in various institutions and departments, along with academics and non-academics. Dr. Alok has a number of research papers published and presented in national and international journals of repute and conferences, respectively. He has also published a number of books and chapters on topics, wide topics pertaining to academics, management, etc. Sir has received various awards and recognitions for his research work and for his wide capabilities. Sir, we are delighted to have you amongst us with your vast experience and knowledge, and I hope our institution will be benefited from your expertise. I welcome you once again, sir. Dr. Alok John will be sharing his insights on the topic, role of IQAC in institutionalizing quality culture in HAI. Thank you, sir. Over to Dr. Alok John.
Thank you and a warm good morning to all the August gathering here. Thank you so much, Dr. Munjal, for this wonderful introduction. And before I begin, I just wanted to have a quick question if I'm audible and visible to all the participants. Participants can please respond if I'm audible. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, sir, you are.
And visible also, because I believe this is the biggest virtue in this VUCA environment and virtual platform, to be audible and to be visible. That is the biggest virtue these days. So thank you for the response, and I extend a warm greetings to Dr. Sister Molly Abraham, the principal, St. Bede's College, Shimla. Dr. Anupama Tender for her warm welcome and the opportunity to deliver today's session, the convener of this program. Dr. Shamja Munjal, the chairperson, Dr. Vandana Thakur, the rapporteur, Dr. Hemnath Rao Hanumankar for the wonderful keynote address that he had delivered, and of course his concerns of how academic leadership will have to play an important role in carving a niche in our higher education system. So thank you all. Today we are going to deliberate on a very important committee that we all are aware, that is popularly known as the IQAC, the Internal Quality Assurance Cell. So participants, please, you feel free to, hinder me in between if there is any technical glitch, or if I'm not audible, or if I'm not making any sense. Please feel free to interrupt me in between and let me know your thoughts on it. I'm sharing a PowerPoint presentation, so kindly respond if this particular slide is visible in front of all of you. Is it visible? Is my slide visible?
Yes, this is visible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Thank you, because visibility is also very important when we talk, when we are on a virtual platform. So that will help us to channelize our thoughts. So I extend a warm welcome again to all of you in this today's session which is titled as Role of IQAC in Institutionalizing the Quality Culture in Higher Education Institutions. Of course, it says that quality matters because you see, quality is never an accident. It is always the result of intelligent efforts. All right, so one cannot, Rome was not built in a day, and it requires hard work. It requires a lot of persistency, consistency in achieving the quality. The quality of a person's life is in direct proportion to their commitment to excellence, regardless of their chosen field of endeavor, as quoted by Vince Lombardi. The quality, not the longevity of one's life, is what is important. Again quoted by Martin Luther King Jr. So the establishment of IQAC by every accredited institution by NAC as a post-accreditation measure is the first step towards internalization and institutionalization. So when we talk about internalization and institutionalization, we first foresee our vision, mission, and core values. So once the administration, once the college management or formulates such vision and mission, it is the IQAC which foresee that these vision, mission, and the core values are integrated in each and every dimensions, operations, and various levels of the academic institutions. So regardless, it is said that it is the duty of the IQAC to ensure the outcomes, to ensure the implementations or whatever has been visualized, whatever has been set as a benchmark by the management to achieve the objectives of the educational institution. Let us ponder upon this thought of quality culture. When we say IQAC, it is the internal consortium of people who would always work for the quality output, quality culture. So before we understand quality culture, we must see what the term culture is. The culture is actually what is encompasses not only ethnically, because when we relate to culture, it would be our normal regional culture, our geographical culture or ethnicity, but it also extends to the dimensions of the identity and the ways we live our life. So basically, it is the manner in which we pursue our life, but in the manner in which we take our life forward. So what is culture again? Culture can be defined as what we create beyond our biology. And of course, I believe mankind is gifted. I'm sorry if there is any questions or if any kind of disturbance. Shall I proceed? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can proceed further.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Audible.
Okay.
You proceed, sir, at the end of the lecture, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So using this definition, quality culture incorporates the scope of diversity and the innovations in ways of being of higher education institution, which could be implemented in the curriculum, in the teaching learning evaluation, in research, and in almost every area of operation of any higher education institutions. It could be the best practices, it could be the sports, it could be extracurricular activities, be it whatever you can think of and whatever your imagination can go of whatever happening is around your colleges, your universities, your institutions. Every aspect must be imbibed with the quality culture. IQAC. When we talk about IQAC, we always think of the SMART goals. most of our management personals will be, when we formulate a strategy, when our management formulates a strategy, or they are focusing on planning something, because when we teach in business, classes, we always say that a business which actually fails to plan is someone who actually plans to fail. So how effectively you actually do your planning, that is what is very important in pursuing all your activities. So when the first thing first comes is making our goals, making our objectives, and when we do that, we think of smart goals, that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So all our goals must be specific. It must not be vague. It must be, curtailed to crisp sub points and within points within points. So it must be very specific. It must be measurable. It must be quantified. The achievement of such goals must be quantified into percentages. What percentage of objectives have been achieved during a particular period of time, quarterly or half yearly or annually. It must be achievable. So when we set a target, so we must set a target which is which is not beyond our control. It must be achievable. It must be realistic and not unrealistic. And then it must be relevant to what are what professions we are pursuing, what is our vocation. It must be relevant to our vocation, and certainly it must be time bound. That means every goal, every activity must have a stipulated deadline. Even when we do seek for a particular data, we set a deadline that within this deadline, the departments must submit those data to the IQAC. So all the kinds of goals must have a particular timeline. Moving further, so the primary aim of the IQAC is to develop the system for conscious, consistent, and catalytic action. This is not said by me. It is the NAC manual says that it is the goal of the IQAC is to develop a system which is conscious, consistent with the time, and catalytic. It action to improve the academic and administrative performance of the institution. IQAC is to keep institution abreast of and abuzz with the quality sustenance activities on a wide gamut of pertinent issues. IQAC is to generate good practices, ideas, planning implementation, and measuring the outcome of the academic and administrative performance of the institution. Now, how can an outcome be achieved? Now we all are, moving towards the outcome-based education. So if we are going to implement the outcome-based education in our syllabus, we must also implement the same thing in our activities also. What are the outcome of a specific task that we are undertaking? So before undertaking that, we must visualize the outcomes. IQAC functions, the challenges and the opportunities. Yes, because we talk about challenges because we are in a VUCA world, VUCA environment, which is, volatility, which is uncertain, which is complex, and which is full of ambiguity. So our particular present day scenario is, is in demand of a leader, is demand of academic institutions which foresee these VUCA challenges and implement their goals and tasks successfully. So they must create a fitness for the purpose. If we all think alike, we are not thinking. There has to be deviations. There has to be difference of opinions, because then only the proper brainstorming will happen, and then idea which will bring a win-win situation will be defined. So definitely, we must not follow the herd mentality. So do we have a clear idea of the kind of higher education institution we want to be in the next 5 years or next 10 years? So we formulate a strategic plan document, which within 5 years we aspire to become this. Within 5 years we aspire to have more postgraduate programs. We aspire to become an UGC autonomous institution. Within next 10 years, we aspire to have become a deemed university. Within next 10 years, we aspire to open our, research departments and offer PhD programs. So there may be, the vision has to be very clear. And are our quality assurance mechanisms adapted to that goal? So it is not only the goal, but the quality assurance mechanism must also be related to the goal itself. So to answer this question, it is important to raise the first two key questions. And the first two questions is, number one is, who are our students? What are, because they are the receiver. They are at the receiving end. So we must understand who are students, because our students come from a variety of background. Now we are talking about Generation Z kind of students. Generation Alpha is just knocking on the door. So they will come from a variety of background and have a variety of learning needs. So they differ in terms of social class, educational attainments. They can be slow learners, they can be fast learners. There are differences in aging. When we talk about postgraduate programs, it may be possible that someone is going to start the program after a big gap in its in career, and the goals for the education. So this diversity needs to be embraced by the institutions. Teachers need to be sensitive to the intellectual starting point of the students and build from there. They have to go and zero down to their level. We need a variety of teaching methods and teaching materials, of course. We need to match the variety of learners with a corresponding variety of teachers. So we have to adopt, by and large, fitness for purpose approach. This is the fitness for purpose approach. There cannot be one medicine for all the diseases. So it focuses on customization and focusing on the kind of students. Teachers needs to customize the pedagogy and customize their delivery. Next is the second question is, what kind of graduates do we want for the future? Are we creating graduates which is at par with the requirement of the industry, or the skills which are required by the industry? Just have a thought to it. Are so many students are passing out, graduating every year? And what is the industry requirement? Why there is so much of unemployment? Because you see, 90% of these students which are graduating, they lack a particular skill. They are not employable at all. So the very purpose of graduation, very purpose of getting into the job market gets defeated. So we must think of what kind of graduates do we really want for the future. We want them to have the flexibility to adapt. They must be flexible in adapting to any kind of change. A proper change management must be imbibed in them. That is unfreezing, the change process goes on, and then finally the freezing process going. They have to unlearn what they have learned over their 10 to 20 years of academic life, because those things might not be of a realistic help when they go to the job market. So to learn in a formal and non-formal situation, which is at work and in the classrooms, to be a good problem solver and to think creatively and imaginatively. A knowledge base grounded in a discipline and is important to develop these capacities, but not sufficient. So this is just a very limited set of expectations, and there may be certain more if you all can think of, you can add to this. Above all, graduates need to learn how to think. It is the thinking exercise, the thinking mindset has to be developed. This is how employers ultimately will judge them. So if we all think alike, we are not thinking, but we all need to think well. So how often, however, does the quality assurance debate focuses on these fundamental considerations? So IQAC plays an important role in imbibing the thinking exercise, imbibing that every level of students, every class of student, every variety of students gets a proper academic exposure to nurture himself or herself in the academic environment. Another challenge which lies ahead of all of us is how to promote a higher education system that is characterized by three V's, that is vibrancy, vitality, and variety. How do we do so? If we want vibrancy, vitality, and variety in our students, should we not take steps to ensure that our quality evaluation procedures match with these aims? Should we not allow a certain degree of chaos and interdisciplinary to promote creativity and innovation? If we want vibrancy, vitality, and variety among our teachers, should we not consider their role globally in terms of its teaching, research, and service dimensions, rather than evaluate separately each aspect? If we want vibrancy and vitality for a diverse student population, should we not take into account their global experience and evaluate institutions as a whole rather than their constituent part? So, making the particular course curriculum interdisciplinary is something very important. We can, if a particular teacher is teaching in one department, it is always seen in the institutions they are restricted to that particular department itself. Let us not happen. Let us not do that. That particular teacher can take certain papers of other departments also. So there must also be cross breeding among various departments so that the interdisciplinary flow, interdisciplinary let that department offer certain value added credit based add-on courses which can be undertaken by other department of other students and or the other teachers, so that will bring a more vibrancy and promote more variety in our institutions. Next is IQAC strategies institutionalize the quality initiatives. IQAC shall evolve mechanisms and procedures for ensuring a timely, efficient, and progressive performance of academic, administrative, and financial tasks. And in order to achieve this, we must always create time-bound, benchmarks, time-bound deadlines. So effectively and efficiently achieving a particular performance task is important in all the administrative, academic, and financial matters. Optimization and integration of modern methods of the teaching, learning, and evaluation. Because of course, like I said, we are there in a digital world. Well, blended learning is the new buzz. Okay, so the focus must be on optimization of modern teaching aids, modern methods. It must not be restricted to chalk and duster and blackboard or dictation of notes, but it must be beyond that. It must be beyond making as attractive as a class would. Integration of case studies, integration of small caselets, quizzes, animated videos through video, audio video systems, PowerPoint presentations, and then there are so many online tools available in which we can make a classroom teaching, learning, and of course the evaluation also very interactive. ensuring the adequacy, maintenance, and functioning of the support structure. The support structure refers to the non-teaching departments of the college or the institution. So, we must also train our support structures. We must also, build our frontline chain and then the second line in command so that, they are also able to function well when the time requires their help. To develop an internal quality culture and meet better the goals of having a dynamic higher education sector. And it can always happen when we are collaborating, when we are benchmarking with various kinds of institutions. We are benchmarking with the global standards of education. We are benchmarking with the top priority focus on research, consultancy, training and development programs. So there must also be teaching beyond curriculum. IQAC activities exploring the new frontiers. The certain activities which are undertaken by IQAC is reflected here. It is the organizational arrangements in the IQAC, which is Internal Quality Assurance Cell. It is basically the IQAC. If you see, if you popularly IQAC in the institutions are known as ICU. That is intensive care unit. So whenever things go out of hand, it is the IQAC which handles it and brings it to the to its place. So let that not happen. Let that not be the IQAC, which is the ICU, but it must be the internal quotient, intelligent quotient of the academic cell. So it must be dissemination of quality initiatives and endeavors. It must not be restricted to files. It must not be restricted to a particular minutes of the meeting, but it must be disseminated to various levels. Like I said, various hierarchy of the college, staff, students, non-teaching, parents, alumni. These kinds of quality initiatives must be communicated to each and every stakeholder of the institution. Departmental interaction with the IQAC and its impact. There must be a regular dry run process where IQAC members can visit to the departments, check their data sheet, check their fact sheet, communicate them of various data management system as required by the NAC accreditation or any other accreditation agencies or ranking agencies like NIRF or any other private ranking institutions. Research and development cell must be established to promote the quality research and quality publication among the faculty and students. Annual internal quality audit, that is the academic audit or the dry run, must be undertaken by the IQAC, and a proper report, a proper unbiased report must be prepared and communicated to each departments. Telling them about their pitfalls, telling them about their limitations, their weaknesses. It can be done in a SWOT manner, that is strength, weakness, opportunities, and constraints. Training and research cell, establishment of the entrepreneurship development cell. Now, after you see the government has also focused a lot about the stand-up policies, the startup policies. Then we have this Atmanirbhar Bharat model. So focus is also on building the capacity building in the entrepreneurial avenues. So the institution can establish an entrepreneurship development cell and promote the various kinds of entrepreneurial avenues, various skill development modules can be prepared by the faculty members, both internal and external. The institution can outsource various members, and such kind of agencies are also available. They can contact NIMSME, which is there in Hyderabad, for National Institute of Medium and Small Scale Enterprises, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, then NISBUD is there in Noida. So Department of Science and Technology also has lot of fundings for funding avenues are available for the higher education institutions to tap those fundings and develop an entrepreneurship development cell. And once the cell is developed, they can train the students on various entrepreneurship models. and then give them a smart, prepare them for the entrepreneurship ventures. It can be a small seed money for 10,000 or 25,000. Let them start, think them, deliberate them, make them deliberate on their various business models. Institution industry partnership cell. This is also a very vital aspect for an institution to excel. Establishment of industry partnership cell. In academics, when we most of the academic institutions, when we see it is restricted to the seminars and conference by academia and people in academics, but very less kind of impetus is given on the industry partnership cell, or it can be the leadership summit or HR conclave. So focus must also be there, because the end result, the students, when they graduate, they go for the job. So the industry must know that your campus is preparing the students which are fitting to their job requirement, which fits to their needs. So that could only happen if there is a constant visit of industry personals in your campuses. So this will make a very positive partnership, a positive relationship between your campus and the industry at large. And there are many industries which in their corporate social responsibility fund, they look out for good academic institutions where they can establish themselves, where they can invest their CSR funding. So institutions can look for those industries, and then invite them to collaborate and uh, have a MOU agreement with them to develop their students, to train their students, not only students but also the faculty members in various aspects. Faculty members can uh, write to those industries to get certain projects from them and do consultancy assignments. So there are a lot of scopes if we focus on the industry partnership uh, you know uh, you know, association. And then establishing collaborations. Dr. Hemnath was also focusing on collaboration. He put a lot of impetus on collaboration, because this is an era of collaboration. Now we have we always remember this famous story of the hare and the tortoise. How the tortoise won and the hare was sleeping. And then there are new versions where both gave challenges to each other, and finally they had to cross a river and they had to climb a mountain. So hare, when there was a river, so hare, the tortoise helped the hare to cross the river, and when there was a mountain, so the hare helped the tortoise to climb the mountain. So it is an era of collaboration, it is the era of mutual benefit. So the academic institution must focus on establishing a good number of collaborative ventures, a good number of collaborative curriculum, which can also be in terms of student faculty exchange program, or various kind of research papers can be written by the faculty members of two different institutions, sharing of best practices, sharing of resources. So these will all help to excel the academic institutions mutually. So their collaboration is also very important. ICT as a teaching learning process. Now we are living in a digital era. So focus on implementation of ICT in all the aspects of a teaching, learning, and evaluation must be, the prime motive. If you see the NAC SSR, it also focuses on the number of ICT tools which are available in the campus. So you have to have the geotag photographs of the various ICT facilities which are available, the projectors, the smart boards, the smart screens. So there are learning management system, LMS. So all these aspects focuses on a good number of ICT endeavors. So now the academic institutions must try to adapt that. Tapping innovative ideas for the faculty. What are the innovative ideas for faculty members? Faculty members must reflect and do a proper research on the various innovative ideas which relate to their spectrum, not only in the teaching but their consultancy, their research, their institution building, their academic and administrative endeavors. Innovation must be the key. Non-teaching training. Non-teaching is also a part of the institution, and they play a very important role in the functioning of the institution. So there must be a total quality management initiatives for the non-teaching staff. There must be a proper training for non-teaching staffs on office management, preparation of memo, small soft skills can be organized for them, writing skills can be organized for them, how to handle emails, how to make a proper correspondence, deliver a proper representation, their hotte kosher, their art of dressing up, everything can be there are not many scopes. It can be beyond that what I am telling. So non-teaching staff members can also be trained in this spectrum. Next is the role of parent-teacher association in the institutional quality enrichment. Parent also now these days when you see feedback, feedback is focuses on uh, feedback mechanism by it must be collected from the students, it must be collected from the alumni, from the parents, from the stakeholders, from the recruiters. So in this case, parents also play a very important role in the institutional quality enrichment. So there must be a proper parent teacher association, parent teacher meeting. The institution must communicate well what it is doing and what are the new initiatives which are being undertaken by the institution for the development of their child. We must also be open to the ideas and to the to various thoughts of the parents, and in that case a symbiotic relationship must be developed between the parents and the institution. Participatory learning must be promoted where slow learners and fast learners are taken into consideration. The soft skill employability skills must be organized by the IQAC. Mentoring and tutor word system must be developed where small group of students, 3 to 4 number of students are related to a particular teacher, where the teacher concerned can mentor them not only in their academics but their personality development, but in their soft skills, in their quality of life and many other things. Students orientation activities must be organized on a regular basis. Student quality circles. Yes, quality circle. The concept of quality circle was first developed in Japan in 1962. So it says the same mindset of people coming together, working together and achieving their goals. So student quality circles must be developed. We must find same kind of students who are very much oriented towards their academics, very much devoted to the institution. So we must identify them and create a pool of talent from such kind of students. Feedback power, which is a system of multi-cornered feedback system, must be developed. The training and placement cell plays also a very important role in developing the various potentials of the students. So not only potentials, but also giving them the opportunity to work. So there must be an active placement cell, and that can only happen if proper industry academia interaction is developed. Students as an important stakeholders in the quality initiatives. So student must always be a part of the various committees. In fact, in the IQAC, it is one of the mandated that the student representation must be there in anti-ragging committee, in grievance redressal committee, library committee, in many committees where students can also be a member, and their active involvement, their ideas must also be taken into consideration. Now it has a lot of benefit. If the certain activities are adopted, it will reap the harvest for the kingdom, and it brings a change which is a change for the better. So IQAC will facilitate and contribute to a heightened level of clarity and focus in the institutional functioning towards the quality. Enhancement and facilitate internalization of quality culture, to the enhancement and integration among the various activities of the institution and institutionalize many good practices. It cannot be, restricted to one or two best practices or good practices, but the institution can think of as many good practices, it can, undertake and focus on its outcome to develop a sound basis for the decision making to improve the institutional functioning. So there has to be a sound decision making process with various kinds of committees and to act as a change agent in the institution. So IQAC is also the internal quality assurance for change. So it also assures and brings a catalytical change in the institution. It is not that, whatever you have achieved, it may be that you have achieved a A plus. So there's nothing called basking in the past glory. So it is like a Kaizen model. In Japan, the famous concept is Kaizen, which is total quality management, incremental growth. We keep on incrementing, we keep on focusing on incremental growth. It is like climbing the stairs. If you have achieved to a particular level or a standard, you must raise the bar, you must raise the standard and achieve higher, higher and higher. So that is the Japanese model of Kaizen, always changing, always bringing a incremental growth in our perspectives. To better internal communication must be developed so that communication reaches to each and every aspect of the institution. So to conclude, I must say that IQAC plays a very important role in developing the quality culture. Quality upgradation is not a one-time phenomenon. It is the quest for excellence. It is a continuous and perennial pursuit. IQAC activities to internalize and institutionalize the quality benchmarking, and benchmarking can be done by the when you collaborate with various high performing institutions. NAC is triggering a quality culture among the various constituents of higher education institution, as well as enhancing the awareness of institutional quality assurance with all the stakeholders. And I believe the revised accreditation framework as developed by NAC, and often all it makes certain amendments to it, it is channelized to bring on this quality culture in the institutions. So to conclude, I say that what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit, as quoted by Aristotle. So I extend a big thanks to all of you for the patient listening. I would like to have questions or queries if there are any from the participants.
Thank you so much, sir. The audience, the session is open for any questions, please. You can unmute yourself or you can send the question in the chat box. Yes, please, anybody? Maybe at the end of the session, at the end of the webinar. All right, I think, so should we conclude? Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't think.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So should I conclude or somebody has some query or question? All right.
Please continue.
All right.
Myself, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar from Varanasi. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Continue.
It was a pleasure hearing to Mr. Alok John from Patna Women's College, Patna. And it was a very thought-provoking lecture, and thank you so much for that. But the major problem, I have been in the higher education for the last 25 years. And I was a student of Patna University. Then I moved to JNU and I had close association with Delhi University and Jamia, and now with Banaras Hindu University. What I have felt that IQAC's role is paramount, but the major challenge is that majority of the higher education institutions, they fail to understand it, and the position of IQAC is undermined in majority. They become only active at the time of NAC visit. Other time, there is no role administrative or academic or financial for the IQAC. Sir, I need your comment on that.
Yes. Can I reply to it? Dr. Sanjay, a warm greeting to you from Patna all the way. So it's always good to hear a Patnaite and to see that they are excelling in their field. It's a matter of pleasure. And it is rightly said, in our academic institutions, especially those which are run by the state or the government institutions, IQAC does not, play a very important role in their day-to-day activities. So just like a registrar's office or a pro vice chancellor's office, or maybe in colleges, the dean's office, IQAC must also be given that kind of stature. This is what is the need of an hour, because NAC accreditation now, as per the revised accreditation system, it is a vicious cycle. It is not, a year before the accreditation that, people will, it's not like, digging the well when there is a fire. So it is a vicious cycle, and it has to be, an ongoing process, like I said in my presentation. So it is a high time that the institution must realize the importance of IQAC at par with other, functionaries of the academics institutions, like the pro vice chancellor's office or the vice chancellor's office or the director's office. So equally, IQAC must be given that kind of stature, and then only the proper functioning of IQAC will, take place. Not only that, IQAC responsibility is not that if a tap is leaking in the institution, then it is the role of the IQAC to fix that tap. So fixing the workload, fixing the responsibility is also very important. What is the focus of the IQAC as per the NAC, as per the manuals? That has to be, taken into consideration by the higher academic institution. It is not that, it is not any mechanical work which requires a quality constraint. It is not the job of the IQAC. And then only the workload of IQAC will minimize, and it will only focus on what it is actually required to do. I hope, sir, I have substantiate your query.
Thank you, sir, so much. Thank you so much.
I see there is another question in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Sir, do I read it for you or you'll read it yourself?
You do the honor, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Okay. It says, good morning, sir. Okay. How do you document data with respect to faculty attending certificate courses, FDP, seminar, or workshops? Under which criteria for affiliated colleges? For affiliated college.
Yes, so affiliated colleges, it is very important to document these things. So it is through the departmental level, through the various particular department, the HODs, the IQAC can, with the help of these HODs, can document these data on monthly basis. So that, each month, how many faculties are attending, how many refresher courses, their name, their whether it was sponsored by the, organization, or whether the faculty member himself or herself has paid for that registration. What was the certificate, taking a soft copy of the certificate, uploading it in the drive. So it must be done on a monthly basis. And also, if it is done on a departmental basis, so then it is very, it becomes easy for the IQAC to, collate all the activities which are undertaken by their various faculty members. So first thing first, if you talk about the data collection, the collection of the program brochure, the certificate which is given to the participants, that has to be collected. And if it is sponsored by the academic institution, then certain kind of letters or documents can also be collected, in which it says that institution has sponsored the registration fees or certain charges or traveling charges to enable that particular faculty member to attend such programs.
All right, thank you, sir. I hope the question has been answered to Dr. Raman. All right, so I think we should conclude now so that we can proceed further. Thank you so much, sir, for your informative and valuable insights on role of IQAC in institutionalizing quality culture in higher education. So very effectively, you mentioned about quality culture in higher education and explained the aim of IQAC to create various aspects related to academic and administrative performance of the institution. So you also explained in a very good manner about the functions of IQAC with challenges and opportunities, which definitely plays a great role in the quality assurance. Yes, you suggested to adopt the methodologies suiting the students which come from various backgrounds and then imbibing the thinking process amongst them. Sir, the institution has to make efforts to bring vibrancy, vitality, and variety. And for that, interdisciplinary approach is very. And similarly, the trainings for the non-teaching staff faculty is very, very important. So to achieve the goals of IQAC, as explained by you, we should explore new frontiers of quality assurance, and definitely there will be a change for better. So repeatedly doing definitely there is a quest for excellence, which will lead to excellence, and then it becomes a habit. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Now,
Bunjal.
thank you so much, sir. And now over to Dr. Anupama Tandon.
Thank you, Ma'am Shamja. And thank you, Dr. Alok. We will be meeting again in the afternoon session again. Now there is a slight change in the program. As Dr. Surya Rashmi Rawat had to visit the directorate right now. So we are preponing our post technical sessions, 2 sessions, that is preparation of SSR, and we will have the second session, data validation and verification, after lunch. So I request the chairperson, Dr. Gitanjali Mahendra, Associate Professor from the Department of English, to take over.
Correct. Thank you, Dr. Anupama. Good morning, everyone. This is about Dr. Madhukar. He was the former advisor and General Counsel Executive Committee member in NAC.
Dr. Gitanjali,
Yes.
I'm interrupting you for a moment. Yes. Yes. Dr. Madhukar has joined. You can start, yes.
Welcome, sir, Dr. Madhukar. So he is going to, as Dr. Anupama rightly pointed out, he is going to speak on preparation of SSR, which is a very important topic for all of us because we have started working on this at the moment. So Dr. B.S. Madhukar has more than 25 years of rich professional experience in different aspects of higher education, that is educational consultancy, assessment and accreditation of higher education institutions, industry exposure in the area of planning and maintenance, marketing and services. He is an engineer by training, MBA in finance and PhD in the discipline of management. His PhD work was in the area of quality assurance in management schools. He opted for voluntary retirement from the position of advisor, equivalent to a cadre of professor in the university, from National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bengaluru, an autonomous institution under UGC, MHRD, and demitted office in September 2019. In the last 21 years at NAC, 2 years from its inception, he has immensely contributed for the promotion of concept of quality in higher education across the country and in preparation of manuals, documents, information material, progress and review reports, planning and organization of assessors, training programs, seminars, workshops, research work pertaining to assessment and accreditation. He has been responsible for coordinating peer team visits to more than 1,000 institutions, universities and colleges across the country. Dr. B.S. Madhukar has also served as administrative officer, holding additional charge and as member of various administrative academic committees at NAC over the years. Dr. Madhukar was on deputation from NAC to University of Mumbai on invitation from September 2014 to September 2015 as Director of University of Mumbai Quality Assurance Cell. During his tenure as founder director of the cell, he was responsible for establishment of the cell and initiating activities like academic audit of the university departments and affiliated colleges of the university. He was also instrumental in initiating the process of quality work audit in the university and conducting awareness programs on the concept of quality circle. Dr. Madhukar has participated and presented papers in various national and international seminars as well as conferences. He is invited as a resource person by many universities and colleges in India to conduct awareness programs and to speak on quality related aspects. He has completed research projects on quality audit and functioning of the internal quality assurance cell in universities and colleges. He has co-authored few books on the quality of higher education. He is a recipient of the Endeavour Executive Award from Government of Australia. And one of his papers was adjudged as outstanding paper in an international conference at Bangkok. He has visited many countries for attending seminars and conferences, and in March 2017 presented a paper at the International Quality Assurance Agency of Higher Education Conference held at Manama Kingdom of Bahrain. Dr. Madhukar has been associated with CII Institute of Quality, Bengaluru, and had participated as an expert for assessing applicant companies for the grant of CII Exim Awards. He was also involved as an expert member in school accreditation conducted by Department of Education, Bharati Dasan University, Tamil Nadu. In his capacity as senior officer in NAC, in the process of discharge of his duties and responsibilities, he has interacted with senior level functionaries in the central and state governments, universities, and many other statutory bodies apart from interactions with private players in education, industry, and related areas. He was also the member of the following important committees till the date of his retirement from NAC: Member State Higher Education Council, Government of Sikkim; Member State Level Quality Assurance Coordination Committee, Government of Andhra Pradesh; Member of Core Committee for Grading ITIs under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. His latest paper, Managing Quality at Institutional Level, was published in the India Higher Education Report 2017, NEUPA, New Delhi. At the moment, his current engagements are, there is a long list of his current engagements: member of Assessment Committee of Yoga Certification Board, YCB, Ministry of Ayush; UGC nominee for governing body of Srinivas Institute of Technology and Management Studies; UGC nominee for governing body of St. Igg's, Kottayam, Kerala; ambassador of the Paramarsh scheme, Mar Athanis College, Kothamangalam, Kerala; external member of High Power Committee looking after the PhD program of Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhan Samsthan, Bangalore University under Section 3 of the UGC Act 1995, member of Advisory Group of Bangalore Central University for Online Development of Affiliation Operations, special invitee for the meeting of Sikkim State Higher Education Council held on 4th November 2019, actively participated in capacity of NAC officer, external member in preparation of Health Sciences Manual NAC, co-authored papers titled Quantitative Manifesto of Institutional Accreditation, Building Blocks of Trust, presented in INQAAHE conference held in Colombo in March 2019. Editorial team of management practices, case presentations under best practices, practice series publication of NAC, July 2019. Member of the team for preparation of state-wise analysis report of Uttar Pradesh NAC publication, invited as resource person for activities related to assessment and accreditation, setting up process for continuous quality improvements and sustenance, etc. We welcome you, sir. We are honored to have you with us today to deliver your address on this important topic, that is preparation of SSR, which touches our institution in a big way since we are preparing that at the moment. Thank you, sir. Welcome again.
Good afternoon to all of you. Hope you are able to hear me. Hello. You're able to hear me, please?
Yes, sir. Very clear. So you are audible.
Okay. Dr. Sister Mali Abraham, the patron of this college, Dr. Anupama Tandon, the convener, Dr. Geetanjali Mahendra, the chairperson of this session, and the boss who is going to evaluate me in this session, Dr. Alok John, Dean, the previous speaker and a good friend of mine, and who is instrumental in my being part of this team at St. Bede's College, Simla. In fact, I'm very happy to be associated in this particular team for the reason that it has been a very long time since I visited Simla, and I think you're in a very important location in the country where people plan to come there for their holidays, etc., to relax and have a nice time, etc. So you're already in a place where I think it is in such a situation that things are right already there. So you don't have to come in search of a better place than Simla to have your student or a faculty life. I think that is one of your advantages. And I'm also happy to note you have already completed 2 cycles of assessment and you are in the 3rd cycle. And that could be in fact, there has been a lot of learning experience to the faculty after you have completed 2 of your cycles. Before I get into my talk on assessment and DVV, which I'm going to flip across, it is not for the simple reason when you look at NAC assessment process is done through 7 criteria, what we call as 7 criteria. You know what are the criteria from curricular aspects to student support, etc., etc. There are 7 criteria which are part of NAC accreditation. First, let me dwell on why 7 criteria has been chosen. 7 criteria has been chosen because some people have 7, 10 parameters. Initially, when NAC started, it was 10 parameters, and later it was combined and brought it to 7 criteria. And why 7 criteria is for the reason that we have to. It is basically whether it is 7 criteria or 8 criteria. It is basically to do with to help scoring. Now, when we say curricular aspects, teaching, learning, research, consultancy, etc., why have we divided an institution into 7 parts or whatever number of parts is just to help us in scoring. But as an institution, all parts of the institution, whether it is teaching, learning area of the institution, teaching or research area or even the library, all has to work in cohesion so that an institution works at its maximum capacity. So This division, the purpose of dividing it into criteria is largely to help in the scoring part of the process, scoring part of the accreditation process. Can I know from one of you, what was the score you got in the last accreditation cycle? Any one of you? Can any one of you let me know what is the grade you got in your earlier accreditation cycle? I understand it is A. Am I right?
Sir, it is A+.
It is A+. Okay. And most of you have, I couldn't have a chance to look at your peer team reports, but I think most of the faculty members have gone through the earlier reports. I assume so. In case if you have not done it, I request whoever it is, the management or the convener to circulate the earlier reports to all faculty members to have a look at it, since you are preparing for the third accreditation, next accreditation. When is it due, or when you are planning to go for the accreditation, madam?
Sir, the peer team will be visiting us. The next accreditation is due in September 2023.
You mean you have already September 23? So you have not yet submitted your SSR. Am I right?
No, we have not submitted.
And you have not also submitted IIQA. Is it right?
Yes, sir. We have not submitted.
So you are planning. And when did your accreditation come to an end?
September 23, sir.
It is going to come to an end in September 23. So
yes,
you have enough time for the next visit. And it is, in my opinion, you have started at the right time to prepare for it, prepare for this accreditation. And I think your planning has been good to that extent. Before I get into talking about the criteria, the accreditation cycle, etc., am I allowed to share my presentations? I want to first start with a report already submitted by a college from Tamil Nadu, which has got an A+ grade in the new format, that is what is called as new accreditation framework. So am I allowed to share the file?
Yes.
Am I permitted?
Yes, sir. Yes.
I will try to share it. Sometimes. Is it visible?
No, sir, it is not visible.
No, sir.
Not visible. Now? Now is it visible?
Not as yet, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah, getting an option to share the screen here. Hello, can you hear me? I'm not getting the option to share the screen. Can I request?
Yes, sir, we'll just look into it then.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Or it's okay if you can share it from your end, where I've already transferred the file. You can share it from your end.
बैंक में डालने पड़ते हैं, मैंने बैंक से निकाले, बैंक तो आपको पता कहाँ रखा।
This little this. How can I move it? Bar I cannot move. So I think all are able to see the self-study report of third cycle accreditation.
Yes, sir, we are able to see it.
You are able to see it, so you are presenting from your end.
Yes, sir, it's absolutely visible.
Okay, can you make it bigger? It is very it is visible on a small screen here. Can you make it bigger? Can it be made full screen? Okay, thank you. Now I think you from your end you have to scroll the report. Go down page by page. Since I cannot have that option here. Or can that option be transferred to me to move the slides? Okay, let us continue. Please
Mr. Ashish, if you could do that.
Scroll the report. Now it is a report of a college from Tamil Nadu which has already been submitted, and they have got an A+ grade. Why I want you to look at this slide look at this report before going into the presentation is to make you understand that how a report which is completed looks like. When you scroll through the report, I will make some observations which you can note down. I understand that this seminar is open to people even outside your college. I think there are other participants from outside your college also who could be possibly preparing for the NAAC accreditation. See, this report consists of an executive summary which is already written by this institution. This is part of the report. And at this point, I like to advise all the people, all the participants, faculty members, administrative staff, etc., who are in the process of going for the accreditation to look into the manual of the respective colleges. Like if you're an affiliated college, if you're an autonomous college, kindly look into the manuals first before you even start getting into writing the reports. First, from the first sheet to the last sheet, kindly go through the accreditation manual. That is the first step you have to do before you start your process. because for the reason why this is required us, because for the reason you don't, all of you are in the same page of understanding what it is. Because from my experience, I can say after you make your report, largely complete your report, you will understand that each one of you have understood the questions differently. You have written it differently. The flows are not okay. And then the work of redoing happens. In fact, this is a very rigorous exercise, and largely the whole process is evidence based, which I will discuss a little in detail in the DVB part of the presentation. So the first point is all of you read the report. Now the report consists of the following parts: executive summary. Slowly scroll down and when I say stop, kindly scroll down, please. This is the introduction part. Kindly slowly scroll down the report. I request you to scroll down on the report.
Mr. Ashish, please.
Yeah, now it is being scrolled down. All of you have a look at it. This is the structure of the report. Then you have the vision, mission, then the strength, weakness, opportunities, and challenges. Now you scroll down a little more. Scroll down, sir. A little faster. Little faster. Then criteria-wise summary. So this is what you have to write in the report. So you have one of the reports, which is so you can have a look at this report, teaching, learning, evaluation. Next, sir. Go down, go down, go down, go down, still go down. Research, innovation, extension, infrastructure. These are the criteria on which you have to give a write-up. Now you stop this. Now comes the basic information, the basic profile of the institution. Here you have to give all the details of your institution. Now you can scroll down, sir. Further. You can scroll down till I say stop here. Academic information. Scroll down, sir. Scroll down. Sir. These are all the details of the programs in your institution, which went earlier. Programs. Then I do understand you have a MSc program in one of the subjects. That's what I saw from your website. Now we are coming to what is called as extended profile. This extended profile is a very important aspect of the preparation of the SSR. A very important aspect of the preparation of the SSR. Here you see 1.1 number of courses offered by the institution across all programs during the last 5 years. You see the data given by this institution. Then there's a format. You can click on view document and the format will open. You can click on that. View document. Yeah, please. Click on that. The document has to open. See, this is the template for giving the details. See, they have given the details. This is how the details are given. And what I've given as a document, you can have a look at it. Other documents are also available on NAC website. So before you go into preparation, at least see some similar colleges. You select some similar colleges and look at how they have processed it and how they have done it. Because there's an acceptance. This has been already accepted. You will get a lot of doubts when you do your SSRs. How do you get clarification on this? There is nothing like an yes or no answers in this. There's always a confusion in the field that there are yes or no answers to this. There are no yes or no answers to this because many of the questions you may have in mind. It is largely defined by NAC, and it is largely about the data you have in your institution. So if somebody says, I will do a self-study report and give it to you, don't go by that. He cannot. The data is your institution's property and it is inside your institution, and nobody can do a self-study report without you giving them a data. And if they try to give some data and trying to give that, it is a wrong thing. You have to be careful that wrong data or at the worst manipulated data are not given in the self-study report, because there's a lot of cross verification that happens, and in case you are given wrong data, it becomes very obvious, and you may be exposed to some penal action, etc. by NAC. So don't be careful about your data and collect it properly. Now you can close this template and go back to the extended profile. Close it, please. Close the template and go back to the extended profile. So extended profile, as I said, is very important. Then you have number of programs offered year-wise. Next question, 1.2. Then about students, 2.1. Then 2.2. Next down. 2.3, 3.1. Down you can go down. 3.2. It's up to 4.2, 3, and this is the extended profile. So this extended profile is very important part of the SSR, since this will be part of the calculations. Calculations, and is called the denominator. In NAC parlance, it's called denominator, and it's very important in calculations across your quality indicators. That is quality. Now we have come to the important core section of the self-study report, that is quality indicator framework. This framework basically has 7 criteria. Under each criteria, you have what is called as key aspects. Under key aspects, you have what is called as qualitative and quantitative metrics. Qualitative metrics is denoted by QLM, and quantitative metrics is denoted by QNM. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my presentation on this a little later. But at this point, you understand you have a criteria under which there is key aspects. Under key aspects, you have metrics. Now, in this example, in this format, now what is visible is criterion 1, curricular aspects. This is the criteria. Criterion 1, curricular aspect. What is 1.1? 1.1 is the key aspect. Curricular planning and implementation is the key aspect. 1.1.1 is the metrics. This metrics is a qualitative metrics. That is, the institution ensures effective curriculum delivery through a well-planned and documented process. This is a qualitative metrics, and it is QLM. Okay, each of the metrics, each of the criterion will have qualitative key aspects, qualitative as well as quantitative metrics. Now, what is the difference between a qualitative and a quantitative metrics? A qualitative metrics is what is written by the institution, and it is a text box. This is a text box. That is the qualitative metrics. You understand? The answer is a text box. Like the institution ensures effective curriculum delivery through a well-planned and documented process. This is what that particular institution has talked about, their function in relation to the metrics. So this, when you look at some of the reports of 2-3 colleges, institutions of similar nature, A+ grade you can select, or B++ you can select, or A++, etc. In the third cycle you can select and look at it so that you get an idea of what generally has to be included in this. And also, when I said you study about quality, go through the manual thoroughly. Even the manual will also tell you what are the curricular planning and implement, what are the aspects that is covered under curricular aspects, so that you don't have overlap on that. Okay, this is one. I see something on the. Is there something on the chat box now? Can we take it up later? Okay, now you scroll down further, please. All questions, I think we can park it to the end.
Sure, sir. We'll take the questions later.
Questions we'll take it up later. So that let me complete, because most of the questions you have will get answered while I speak to you on that. And again, this one, the institution adheres to academic calendar, including for the conduct of CIE. This is again to do with, this is again a qualitative, this is again a qualitative metrics. Next question. Now you wait. Now 1.1.3. Teachers of the institution participate in following activities related to curricular development and assessment of the affiliating university and are represented on the following academic bodies during the last 5 years. So here you have responses. This is in this institution, you have these responses, or these are responses which are given in the manual. You can also have a look at the manual, and they have said the responses, they have ticked all. So the response here, when you see response here, all the above, all of the above, and that means in this institution, the teachers participate in academic council, BOS, setting of question papers, design and development of curriculum, assessment evaluation of the affiliate as a process of the affiliating university, etc. They participate. So these questions you can always look at from the manual. You don't go by this, because they could have done something, some mistake could have happened, or they could have imported something, or the manuals could have changed over time. Change, when I say changed, it doesn't mean the structure of the manual is changed. The QSQ, qualitative metrics and quantitative metrics structure remains. Maybe the questions could have been changed, the questions could have been reworded, etc., etc. There will be no drastic change of the manual till a announcement is made that a drastic change has taken place. This may not happen immediately because now the NEP has suggested different structures which you are all aware of. So you have to look into that part. That is a different aspect of the SSR, which has been included recently, where you have aspects of NEP has to be talked about in the profile itself. Let us see whether this college has already done it. Otherwise, we'll talk about it a little later. Now, please scroll down. Then academic flexibility, percentage of program. This is now you just remember this response here is 90, I think 95.24. The next one response is 20. You just remember what this, we will talk about this response a little later. Okay. What it means by this response a little later. Go down, please. Go down. Now we can go down a little faster. So this is how the structure, this is how a report is, a submitted report looks like. And 1.3, curriculum enrichment. So 1.3.1 under this 1 point curricular enrichment is under criteria. It is one of the key aspects under criteria curricular aspects. So it is 1.3. Under this curriculum enrichment, you have 1.3.1. Institution integrates cross-cutting issues. See, there is no response. Responses will be there only for what is called as quantitative questions, not on qualitative questions. So you see, when there is no response, it is likely to be a qualitative question. Next you can go down, sir. Scroll down. So scroll down further, a little faster now. See, this is where there is this is a quantitative question. Okay, scroll down, sir. Okay, scroll down. Scroll down. This is another type of question. Feedback process of the may be classified as the following: feedback collected, etc. See, response B, feedback collected, analyzed, and action has been taken. This has been converted into a response. Each one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has been classified in the program as A, B, C, D, etc. So feedback collected, analyzed, and action has been taken. That is, they have ticked 2 here. So that is what it is showing here. Responses after the manual has been evaluated at the first level, they have showed this: feedback collected, analyzed, and active has been taken. So this is what the institution has indicated. Next, you can go down, sir. Now you come to teaching learning process. This is criterion 2. Now you go down. It is similar, sir. It is similar to. You go up to slowly. You go up to criteria 7. It is similar. Everywhere you have to view documents, then you have to give additional information, etc., on from your minutes of the meetings. All those issues come up. So you keep going down on this. Now it is criteria 7. See, criteria 7 is an important criteria for you: institutional values and social responsibilities. You know why this is important? Criteria 7 carries a lot of weightage. See, the whole process of NAAC accreditation, each criteria in the NAAC accreditation process has a differential weightage. The more the so differential weightages, some have less weightage and some have more weightages. And under each of these criteria, their weightages are in the criteria wise weightage and even metrics wise weightage, which we will talk a little later. This particularly institutional values and best practices carries a lot of weightage, up to 30 weightage. Is questions in this particular criteria has weightage of more than of 30 and above. 30, I think, is the maximum. We have a look at it. So you have to concentrate this criteria. You have to concentrate because it is specific to your institution. What is outstanding institutional values and best practices of your institution? This particular criteria shows uniqueness of your institutions. And there are a lot of questions where a peer team members take a decision on this. See, let me again come back and say quantitative metrics are evaluated through a program, which is already done in NAAC. The program is already created, and those parts will be done through a program. And qualitative metrics is evaluated by the peer team who visit your institution. So this has another difference between qualitative and quantitative. As qualitative parameters are evaluated by the peer team who visit your institutions. Okay, I may be repeating this again and again in other parts of the presentation. but you can keep this in mind. So when it is evaluated by the peer team, it becomes a face-to-face interaction. So you have a lot of leeway in presenting your facts and figures and evidences in a better fashion than when you give it through a digital format or quantitative format. Basically, if you have seen this if you have observed in all the quantitative metrics, what is there is the output is in a digital form. You saw numbers, or it is a selection process. Out of 4, how many are available in your institution, etc. So there are 4 types of quantitative metrics which I will be showing in my presentation. So at this point in time, you can understand that qualitative metrics is evaluated by the peer team and quantitative metrics is through a program. Now you can go down. Now scroll down, sir. Scroll down further. Yeah. So all this you can look at. In fact, this manual could be a slightly older version. So best practices is important to you because this will carry higher weightages. I will talk about weightages when I come to my presentation. So you can scroll down. This is the structure of the okay. So we can go down, sir. So concluding remarks can go down. This is annexures. Some DVV could have asked some clarifications, they could have clarified, etc. This is the clarifications. This annexure gives the clarifications, etc. Now you can close this report. Now I want to know from Madam Tandon, Madam, should I now go into the presentation or you want to break here? Or should we continue with the presentation?
Sir, we can break for lunch at 1. We still have 15 minutes. Dr. Gitanjali, I think we can ask the participants if they have any questions till now.
Yes. So we have 15 more minutes before we can start with our lunch break. In case these participants have any questions, they are free to ask those questions. So there is a question in the chat box also. Would you like to address
no, I'm
that
not
question?
able to get to the chat box. You have to read it for me.
Okay. So, sir, I could see one question there. May I read it out to you?
Yeah, please.
Okay. After that, Professor Suchitra would be asking, sir. So first I will ask this question which has come in the chat box.
Yeah,
it
please.
says, do we have provisional accreditation for colleges? This is the question that has come from Mr. Raman.
At this point, to the best of my knowledge, it is kept in under abeyance. At this point in time, my understanding is it is kept under abeyance. It is not true. It is kept under abeyance. They may have to take a decision on that.
Okay, so thank you. Professor Suchitra, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
Sir, I'm Dr. Sucharita from St. Anne's PG College, Hyderabad.
Okay.
So we have just started our work on the first cycle.
Okay.
And I wanted to know, like, because the seminar says that there are revised frameworks. So what recent changes have been made Any recent
This
change?
revised framework, you don't worry, this is almost 2017, the framework has been revised, and some later small changes have happened. You go to the NAC website and work on the latest manual.
Okay.
You're an affiliated college or an autonomous college?
We are an affiliated college, sir.
First cycle.
Yes, sir.
And located in Hyderabad.
Yes, sir. And actually, we also thought we'll start on the work on the provisional accreditation. In fact, we started it last academic year. And in between, we came to know there's some problem with it and it's been put on hold. So what would
it has
be
been put
your,
on hold.
Yeah, so what would be your advice, sir? Should we work on provisional?
See, my advice to you will be, first, there are 2-3 points, but it is for you to decide on how do you want to go about. First, for all your faculty members, you have a program on assessment accreditation, NAC process. All the faculty members should be, it is not about just one team or your IQAC or your core committee, etc., who needs the exposure. My understanding and my experience shows that all faculty members in your institution should have an understanding of the process. That is one thing. If you have not started, please do that so that everybody understands what the process actually means, even though they may not have a direct active role to play. This helps throughout the system. It helps because it doesn't finish, the process doesn't finish in submission of the self-study report. The peer team visit also has implications to you, because any communication gap that has come into the system will reflect in the will reflect at the peer team visit time. So my suggestion is do that. And that's why I also showed you earlier the reason. Generally, this is not part of an accreditation. They don't show all this. I am showing it so that you don't redo the work. So all these things are shown, and I have told you, you please share with all your colleagues. My thing is whether you should go for this or that. I think you can start working on the accreditation process, because data is going to be the data collection is a rigorous process and at times a boring process also. I don't know how well data is stored in your institution. Generally, you need to have good database of at least last 5 years. I don't know how good it is in your institution. So start collecting data. You start working on this accreditation, the present format. In case you want to decide on, and they take it up, the hold is removed and they allow provisional accreditation, then you may think about it at that point in time. But my suggestion is go ahead and do the work, because it takes time. Only thing is, if it's provisional, the number of questions have been reduced and the data remains. The requirement of data remains. That is my way of looking at it. It's for the institution to take a call on this.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Hope it has been, hope I have answered your.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I also want to know whether looking at the report, I started with looking at the report. This is the other way of doing it. Instead of a presentation and showing you the report, I thought I will do it the other way around, so that you can fix the report. When I make the presentation, you can fix it with the report.
True,
so
sir.
That correlation I felt will be easy. So how was this? Like looking at the report that has been submitted, was it helpful?
Yes.
Was it useful to you?
Yes, sir, very much. Thank you so much, sir.
So that you get a fair idea of what a report looks like before saying something on this is the report, this is the criteria, etc.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
Dr. Rajan Devi Negi had raised his hand. If you'd like to ask something, Dr. Rajan Devi Negi. Are you there, Dr. Rajan Devi? All right. I could see another hand raised. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Himanshi, even I have a question.
Yes, sure. Please go ahead.
Yes.
Sure,
Sir,
please go ahead.
my question is that we have our next accreditation due, as I told you, in September 2023. So
Okay.
we were wanting to include 22, 23 also. Like we have to give data for the past 5 years.
Okay.
So can we do that, or we will get late in submitting our SSR?
First of all, I want to know which cycle you are applying, where is the college? Is it first cycle? Is it second cycle? What is it, madam?
Yes, sir. This will be our fourth cycle.
Fourth cycle, okay.
Fourth cycle, and we are located in Himachal Pradesh, Shimla, Himachal Pradesh.
Okay. So what was the grade in the earlier cycle?
All A. First also A, second was A, third was A, and now A+.
So you have to last 6 months. You have to apply within the last 6 months for your accreditation cycle to continue. So you can also start working on the report, and what data is applicable is already been explained in the NAC website. You have to go to the NAC website and see the data which has to be applied. Generally, the principle is if you apply after June, it will be previous year data gets included. Otherwise, it will be after June previous year the previous year data, the current previous year, that's what they use, will be applicable. Otherwise, 1 year before data will get applicable.
Right, sir. Sir, my other question is related to the second criterion, 2.6.2, which is attainment of program outcomes and course outcomes. So when we read, the reports of various colleges, I find that mapping thing very difficult. We are not able to map our course outcomes and program outcomes. So if you can tell us something on that, what should we write under attainment of program outcomes?
Madam, this program outcomes, the basic idea behind this, most of you know, is when a student completes the program, what is expected of the student? What is that he is going to learn? That is the outcome-based accreditation. In fact, Alok John also spoke about it. Now, how is this defined as? Like you have to define the outcome of the program and map it. That is what this entire process is about. This is a separate process you have to conduct. UGC has guidelines on outcomes of programs. Many colleges have also done it. You have to, my suggestion is you make a team with external members who have already done it and map outcomes for your college separately.
Right, sir. Right.
Otherwise, you are an affiliated or an autonomous college?
Yes, affiliated college.
Affiliated colleges, more outcomes you map for yourself, because generally, since you follow the university syllabus, other colleges who have gone for accreditation could also have mapped the outcomes. Since if I don't know whether your university have mapped the outcomes. In case, look at your website. I have a discussion with Himachal Pradesh University and look and tell them whether they want to give the outcome since you are an affiliated college. You can have a discussion with Himachal Pradesh University whether they like to give a common guidelines for outcomes or whether they have already given.
Right, sir.
Course-wise outcomes. So that since you are affiliated college, I don't know how many affiliated colleges could be under Himachal Pradesh University. It could be useful to all of you.
Right. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, over to Ma'am Gitanjali.
Are there any other questions? If there are, please ask your questions. All right. So I don't see anyone asking, and I don't see any other questions in the chat box too.
Okay.
So I'm really, yeah. So we are grateful to you.
Time is there.
So it is already 12:55. We have about 5 minutes more before we can go for break.
Okay. In that 5 minutes, I will just make few observations and then we'll close. And then after lunch, we will take up my two presentations I have. One presentation is on the SSR, which I will make first First the SSR presentation, then the DVV presentation. Now let me just brief you about what my presentation will be about. See, when you approach, since most of your institutions are second cycle, third cycle, etc., and only one, and I do feel that there are few institutions which are going for the first cycle. Now let me first, this whole process, whole NAC process is web interface, web based. There is nothing like you physically send any document. Point number one, it's all web based criteria. When the moment you first, there is a registration process. You can register year round. The registration process, you can register year round. Then you have to submit what is called as IIQA, that is institutional information for quality assurance. That is the next process. When you before you submit your IIQA, please ensure that you have kept your SSR ready. That is, you have done your SSR, because after you do your IIQA, you will have only about 45 days to submit your process, submit your report. Then if you have not kept your at least a draft report ready and you start doing it later, you will end up with a lot of confusion, tension, and the report will have a lot of correlation issues. You will have given data which doesn't correlate, etc., which gets pointed out by DVV, and you will have problems of getting less score, even though you deserve a better score. That is one part. The next part is when you submit your IIQA and the SSR, your eligibility is counted from the marks you derive from quantitative metrics. At least you have to score about 30%. They have changed it, I think 25 to 30% you have to score to become eligible for the peer team visit. So this is the criteria. This involves question answers on criteria, quantitative metrics only, excluding what is called a student satisfaction survey. Student satisfaction survey is part of teaching learning process. It is under criteria teaching learning and evaluation. Teaching learning and evaluation, that is the last question in that. And this is a direct interaction from NAC with the students of your institution. In fact, they will, once you submit your SSR, they will simultaneously do this by collecting email details of your students, etc. And you have, and this is a separate process and has a good weightage. About 30% weightage is available for this. So you have to kindly look at it. This is also, and you have to also sensitize your students to answer the, to be cautious, not cautious, to take it seriously and respond to the questionnaires that will be sent by NAC. It will have about 21 questions, 20 is of quantitative nature and one will be of qualitative nature, which is about the milestones of the institution, etc., which they have asked. And that will be referred to the peer team members for their interactions during their visit. And this questionnaire is available on NAC website. You can have a look at it. So this is the background. Once after lunch, I think I will. I think we are almost coming. 5 minutes I've taken. I think we will meet after lunch, 1:30. We will get back to the presentation on SSR, then followed by DVV, and then we can have further question and answers. Is that okay, madam?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your insightful observations. And you showed us the structure of the self-study report. You have cautioned us to give wrong information, manipulated information, which was very, very good advice that you gave us. Also, you have advised us to look into similar colleges, look at their SSR reports. We will pay heed to your advice, sir. Thank you so much for being with us and helping us through this. We shall meet after lunch now for the next session. Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you very much.
I'll hand it over to Dr. Anupama, please.
Thank you, Dr. Gitanjali. So we will break for lunch for half an hour, and we will come back at 1:30. We'll start the next session on data validation and verification, and of course preparation of SSR with Dr. Madhukar at 1:30.
Okay, madam, I will join back.